Hey guys, it's Alicia here. Just wanted to get this started so I could get this shared on some of our various groups. So give me a second here. Okay, so I'm going to just share it on some of our various pages and groups so that way everybody can see this. So give me a second. Hi Kim, I see you're on. You guys, my heart's beating really fast. I don't know why I'm nervous about this. I shouldn't be nervous at all. Okay, I got it shared on the event. Now I'm going to share it on our Friends page so those guys can see it. Just doing this now. Sorry guys, I know it's really boring to watch the back of my head, but what do you do, right? I just want to make sure we get this shared properly. So, okay, I got it shared on the event, both our Friends pages, so they can see the broadcast, and I want to share it with my Minnesota group too, because hey, it's Minnesota, and I gotta represent my fellow Minnesotans. So just give me a second. Kim, I see what you just said. That's a bummer, but I'm glad you could come live with us. That's a shame. So okay. I am going to see if Dr. John is on. So let's see if I can, doesn't look like he's on yet. So we will wait to see when he joins. How is everybody doing? So while we're waiting for Dr. John, I will just get started with what we're going to cover today. So we're coming to you live today to talk about the World Vitiligo Day Conference. Coming up June 22nd through the 24th. In Worcester, Massachusetts, just outside of Boston. Oh, there's Dr. John. John, I'll just get this going, and then I'll bring you on. So I see that you're ready to go. So again, World Vitiligo Day Conference, June 22nd through the 24th in Worcester, Massachusetts, just outside of Boston. All your information that you're going to need is at wvd18.org. It's going to have all of your registration, hotel information, transportation information, nearby airports, a little bit about Worcester, speakers that will be there. All you need is on there. It's fantastic. So anyway, so check that website out, wvd18.org. And and then my name's Alicia Rost, as I said before. I am the marketing director of Vit Friends, our national group, and also the chapter lead here in Minnesota, run our own support group here. And sorry, my husband was just texting me. Run our own support group here for the last 4 years now, and have been involved with Vit Friends for the last year and a half. So Vit Friends and the Vitiligo Clinic and Research Center of the University of Massachusetts is hosting the World Vitiligo Day Conference. So that's why I'm coming to you with Dr. John. We are teaming up together. Dom, stop texting me. We're teaming up together to host this amazing event. So anyway, I'm going to bring Dr. John on, and I have a little bit of a list of questions to ask, and then also if anybody else has questions, please chime in. I will see if I can see them. Hopefully I can. And if I do miss you, I apologize. So here we go. I just have to hit a button. Hopefully this works. Approve. Here, guys. He's coming to us from the East Coast, and again, I'm in Minnesota. So, hi, Dr. John.
Hi.
All right. Can you see me and I can see you? Can everybody on? Can you guys see us? Just let me know if you can see both of us and our connections are good. You look nice and clear, so.
Good. I have you teetered up on a book on my desk, and so hopefully that'll work. If it falls, I'll pick it up.
Okay. Very, very good. So thank you for coming on today. I really appreciate it. And I know you're a busy man, so we really, really appreciate this opportunity to talk about the conference, that you are hosting. So yeah, I guess, do you have anything you want to say first before we kind of get going, or?
Well, we're excited about the conference. I see patients every day. I just had clinic yesterday and was telling a lot of my patients about it, and their eyes lit up, and they were so excited, not just about the conference, but that there's a whole group supporting the conference, and that there's that much interest out there, that there are other people like them who really care about their vitiligo and want to make life better for vitiligo patients, and so they're super happy that the group exists initially. And then on top of that, yeah, that there's a conference where they could, come to meet everybody, and they're all excited because they live right in the area. So it'll never, I don't know if it'll never happen again, but this is a great opportunity for them to not have to travel halfway across the country to be a part of it.
Right, for sure. For sure. Hang on one second. My husband keeps texting me and it keeps showing up on my screen, and I'm going to tell him to leave me alone quick. On my Facebook Live interview. Okay, I apologize to that. Gotta love technology. So, yeah, we are super excited that UMass and your clinic have hosted this conference. I think it brings a unique twist on the patient conference that a wonderful organization and clinics such as UMass is being a part of this. And I think like I said, I think it's going to definitely bring a different twist to the conference. So part of we have the program on the website, the WVD18.org, and you kind of have it mapped out Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Friday night being the check-in night. One question that I had asked was, do you have the actual times that you're thinking? Like, what time on Friday night would people be starting?
So you just froze there in the middle of your question, but I think I caught the end.
Okay, sorry about that. What time on Friday night are you projecting?
Yeah, we've been intentionally a little vague on the program that's posted to the website, just because we don't have everything nailed down exactly yet. We were still inviting speakers and finding out how many people we're going to accommodate, and so we want to make sure that there's enough time for everybody. And so I anticipate registration is probably going to open around 5 o'clock on Friday, and we'll probably go, I imagine, till 8 or 9 before we force everybody to go away, go back to their hotels and go home. But it's not going to be 5 to 9 of presentations. I think that probably around 7 o'clock, sometime between 7 or 8, we'll probably start the program. And I will be part of the introductions and welcoming everybody, but I think Valerie's going to primarily run that show. We're going to talk to group leaders around the country, around the world, and ask them to kind of talk about their groups and have people wear their shirts representing their groups and kind of get to know it. It should be relatively informal, so people can interact and while they're registering, and it won't be a formal presentation time.
Okay. So and I think that's going to be such an impactful event too, just to see all the groups across the country that have formed just within this last year. It's amazing how many groups are starting to pop up and do activities and events. So I think that'll be such a great thing, especially if you guys can all wear your t-shirts from your various states and your various groups. It definitely will be a fun way to see how much vitiligo has changed just within the last few years of doing these conferences. I'm sure you've seen, you've been kind of towards the beginning of the Vit Friends buildup, and just seeing the changes within the last few years. So I think there'll be a fun event on Friday night. So 5 o'clock-ish is what we're telling people that maybe registration will start, because I know some people are wondering about flights and stuff. So we'll just tentatively say 5 o'clock-ish for a start time on Friday, and kind of go from there. And then Saturday, we're representing the children in the morning, and we have a wonderful organization with Vit Friends called Pen Pal Patch that was founded by April Sawyer, whose daughter has vitiligo. So they're going to kind of help kick off a little bit of the children part of the conference, which our motto for the conference is Children, Research, and Hope for the Future. So it definitely is a children-based event too. And I believe so far we have 13 children registered under the age of 12, and that is building daily. So that for a lot of people that are wondering, is there going to be stuff for children? For sure. There's a lot of children already coming. The Pen Pal Patch, we have April Starr speaking. So some wonderful things for children, along with I believe you said there's a petting zoo nearby. There's some fun parks nearby. So there will be things for children to do aside from listening at the conference. Would you want to expand on that a little bit at all?
Yeah, I mean, so children are always invited to these conferences. But this one is really kind of focused on kids. And so that's why we have special programming for children. We're going to make sure that there are activities for children where a lot of them kind of want to come in and just interact with each other, and they don't want to sit and hear boring adults talk. So that's why we're really kind of programming, whether it's crafts for them to do, and the petting zoo we're going to have planned, and there's going to be, if it's nice weather, they can go outside and play ball and really not really be stuck inside listening to people. So the goal is to give relevant information to the kids, to have some kids themselves speak, and not just young children, but teenagers as well. We're going to have different programs for them. And so we're doing a lot. We're putting extra effort this year into kids and making sure that there's a lot for them to do. I can't speak for future years, but I'm hoping that will continue and hold over, because the kids are a big part of what we're doing and why.
I agree with you. And, and a lot of parents are always looking for ways to help their children with vitiligo. And, parents become mama and papa bear and really want to protect their children. And it's such a good way to not only learn about great things, but just showing them all the other people in this world with vitiligo and how normal we are, how everybody has it, or how many of us have it, and how there's many other children that have it, and that having that community and that time together can really make a child feel less anxiety with it and just more at ease. And something else, another presenter that you're having is a child psychologist who also has vitiligo. So she'll have a great view of vitiligo with children too, which I thought was such a great person that will be part of the conference. So
right.
I'm excited about that.
She is not one of the vitiligo community. She's not a vitiligo expert. She's not a dermatologist. She's not a researcher in dermatology. So while she's a psychologist, she's coming because she has vitiligo. And she's a child psychologist. So the two really mix very well, but she's not speaking really on behalf of the medical community. She's speaking on her experience about having vitiligo, what's it meant to her, how's it affected her life. And then also she's got this great skill of being a child psychologist. And so she has some unique insights, I think. She's a great speaker. So I think she'll be a great addition. We do have, just kind of summarize what's going on that day. Saturday is going to be a long day. That's the bulk of our conference.
Yes.
Like you said, we'll have her. We'll have April from Pen Pal Patch talk about that program about kids and her own daughter, and how they've really been passionate about that. We'll have, as you said, April Starr, who'll come and talk about having vitiligo, and she's a model, a child who has vitiligo, who's done a lot with modeling, which is great. And then Pro Grimes, one of my close friends who's a dermatologist, actually specializes particularly in treating kids with vitiligo. And so she's going to give a 20-minute kind of, this is what you should know to the parents about, when you're going to the doctor. So that day, like I said, is going to be a long day. We'll try to not get people out of bed too early. We'll start off with breakfast, and then we'll go into the kids right away. And then the kids will probably want to hear April speak and may want to stick around for that session. And then after that, we'll provide things for them to do. So after that, we'll have a little break, and then we'll have a lot of the docs have really wanted to attend and come and speak. And so we're going to give them probably each 5 minutes to just quickly tell the community what they're doing, what they're working on. And then after that, we'll have lunch, and we'll have a few speakers over lunch. We think that the kids during that time are going to go up to the petting zoo and do activities and have their own kind of lunch. Parents can go if they would like with their children. Otherwise, I think we're going to have a lot of help, med students, and a bunch of people from my lab are going to be around to help take care of the kids. They're not going to be going very far. And then after that, after lunch, we're going to have a good 4 hours at least of just unplanned social time. And we'll have a ton of things you can do during that time. But if you want to just do nothing and sit down in a chair and talk with friends and catch up or meet new people, that'll be fine. If you want to learn how to form a new vitiligo support group, we'll kind of have people who can show you how to do that, talk you through that, a panel of people. We'll have tours of my lab if you have any interest in that. We're actually going to try to do some research that day. So if you want to donate some of your skin and spend a couple hours doing that, we're going to try to sample some people and get some data back by the next morning, Sunday, to tell you what, where you fall and just show you kind of what research is like. We'll have a lot of social stuff, fun stuff. We're going to do volleyball, go to the beach. We have a lake right across the street with a public beach. They have boats there. You can rent little paddle boats if you want. And then the quad for, throwing around a ball if you want. There's so many things. That afternoon really is intended to provide unstructured time for people to do what they want. After that, we'll go into our banquet. So that'll be a dinner that your registration includes right across the street at a really nice hotel restaurant, and we'll spend a couple hours there. We're going to have a magician kind of going around who's really outstanding. We'll have some speakers there. I believe Lee Thomas is going to speak, and a number of others. And so we'll do that. And then after that, that's not the end. We'll then come back down to UMass for entertainment. So Max Tone is going to play for us. They're a live band. They specialize in karaoke. So for the first hour, maybe hour and a half, people can go up and sing songs, and they'll back you up, and backup singers. And then after that, we'll probably just have them play, and people can dance, which is what we did last year, and people had a lot of fun with that. And that'll go late, probably till midnight.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Then we'll get people out of bed on Sunday morning, and we will just kind of have a couple kind of a closing talks, probably by people who've done World Vitiligo Day before. We can talk about where to have it next time, and then bring people to the airport and let them get on their way. So probably 11 o'clock. We're trying to end between 11 and noon.
Oh, okay. 11 and noon. Gotcha. Just writing that down. So Kim Boyd just asked, are there any morning activities for the adults attending without vitiligo, or excuse me, who have vitiligo but don't have children? To me, I think it would still be beneficial to learn the children aspect of it, especially if you're running a group or part of a group. Just you know, the activities would coincide together with groups and children. So I don't think there's separate things for it.
That'll apply to the broad community. And so I don't think that you have to have children for it to be relevant or interesting. Certainly you don't have to come. And so you can network and socialize and things in just outside the room. But we don't have any formal things planned. The reason why we have something planned for the kids during the doc talks are just because we're afraid they'll be bored and get unruly.
You have kids, I have a kid. We know what it's like when kids are bored. So got to keep them entertained a little bit. Right. Well, it definitely sounds like a very fun event. So you mentioned people touring your lab. So tell us a little about what they might see if they go to tour at your lab.
Yeah, it's going to be, the space. We're going to show them kind of where we do everything. And I've already gotten all my trainees in the lab who blocked out the whole weekend. So they'll be available. You can ask them questions. They can show you a little bit of what they're doing. They have some examples of what we do so people can see it. It won't take long to walk through the lab. It's like 2,000 square feet or something, 2,400 square feet. And then there's another area where that's where we do mostly the animal research. And then we have another section where we do the human research, and we'll probably take them over there and show them that. And like I said, we're going to have things set up, and I think we're going to actually be taking some samples from patients who want to. We'll probably only be able to do that for a couple people. And so, but if we have some volunteers, we'll do it, and you can kind of see that and watch how that works. And we'll answer any questions that you have, but it doesn't have to be a big thing. If lots of people want to go through the lab, we'll have to do it in waves because we won't be able to fit hundreds of people in there. But that'll be the plan. I'll be there, showing people.
I have a feeling that will be a popular attraction, if you will. So I know I'm interested in seeing it for sure. Mm-hmm. How long has the vitiligo lab and clinic been at UMass?
So I started here with an interest in vitiligo and kind of started our program both in the vitiligo specialty clinic as well as the lab almost 8 years ago. So when you come, it'll be exactly 8 years that I started. And
really?
We've always been doing vitiligo research and vitiligo clinic, but we kind of codified it into a formal thing probably 5 or 6 years ago. And we named it the Vitiligo Clinic and Research Center. We got more researchers involved. We got more dermatologists and clinicians involved because there's way more vitiligo patients that want to see me than I can possibly see in a year. And so we're doing that. We started to do a technique, a surgical technique as a treatment for vitiligo. And I don't do that. So we have surgical experts that do that technique, those two of those, and they'll be here to talk. And I think that there's a lot to see. Again, we've been doing it probably for about 8 years, but we've grown pretty fast, and we've got a lot on our plate now.
Okay, fantastic.
Yes, you can absolutely donate in and not come to the lab if you want. Denise asked to be involved. So
donate away, Denise.
We'll send some information ahead of time for that, how that will work.
Okay. great idea. I had a few people pop up and ask when the cutoff date for registration was.
So April 20th, that is like in a week. It's a little over a week. And we realized that part of the problem was there was no late fee, there was no deadline, and we don't have nearly as many people registered as we anticipated. And so we think that this is going to be a really popular event. We think a lot of people are going to come, but because we don't have many registered, we're very worried and anxious because if everybody wanted to come and they all signed up the week before, it would be chaos. We wouldn't have anything for them. The rooms wouldn't be big enough for them. The food there wouldn't be enough food for them. We wouldn't have registration bags. We wouldn't have everything that we need. And so we absolutely need to know ahead of time. If we don't have enough, so we have a hard cutoff, a certain number, we'll probably cut it off at 250 registrants. And if we have 250 by April 20th, we'll be done. If we don't, we may extend a little bit, but I highly encourage you, if you are planning on coming, that you register. Unfortunately, we can't refund registration if you change your mind because we need to plan. But I would say that if you don't register soon, you may miss out. And we really want you to come. It's going to be a great event. We can launch into a little bit of how this is going to be different than last conferences. You sent me some questions ahead of time.
Oh, good. So she got it to you. Yes,
it's a nice segue into that. I would say that this conference isn't going to be that much different from previous conferences. So, I mean, the goal is always to get patients up there talking and opportunities for people to interact with each other. This is going to be different in that we've got a focus on children this year. That'll change. Next year's focus will be a little bit different. And we're also focusing on research, not because it's a medical conference, but really because we just want to communicate to everybody what's being done, just to provide hope. The idea is that there's hope for the future. We're going to have new treatments soon. And people are emailing me all the time. And if you've emailed me a question about your vitiligo and I didn't answer, I apologize, but I can't respond to people anymore. I get so many emails. And so this is an opportunity really for you to kind of just sit and hear everything that we're doing and to get excited about it. And we're going to try to provide some time where you can ask questions to the vitiligo experts and dermatologists from around the country. And so that's one thing that's going to be different. I think we're doing probably a lot more. There's going to be a lot of activities. We've got a lot of things more planned than in the past because we had the benefit of going through this for 2 years, and now we kind of know how it should run and should work, and so we're scheduling a lot of things. I have to say, one of the questions was, why is having doctor involvement so critical? And I wanted to address that before we forget. It's not. So I don't think having doctor involvement in World Vitiligo Day is critical at all. I don't think it's necessary. I don't think at all. What's happening is I can't keep them away. Like when they hear about it, they all want to come badly. So I am not twisting any arms to get the vitiligo docs here, to get the researchers here. Some of them, I didn't even think to invite because they're from really far away, and I just assumed they wouldn't come. But when they heard about it, they were like, no, we want to come. So I think that's just good news. That's what this is all about. They're part of the community. Hopefully you think of docs as part of the community. You think of the researchers as part of the community. I don't want people to think that they're all coming because this has become a medical conference and the patients are going to watch on. It's not that at all. So their involvement is all about just providing the information, providing the hope, providing access. If you have questions, they're going to be here the whole weekend. During the social time, you can pull somebody aside and chat with them, for an hour. We love that. We all love that.
Yeah.
The other thing is we're all really close friends and we get along, and this is just another opportunity for us to get together. And some of them haven't seen my lab and seen where I am, and they also would like to see it. So they're going to come and hang out. So they're not necessary. It's not a medical conference. It's just all about supporting vitiligo. And they feel like they're part of the team and they want to be here and they want to participate.
Yep. Well, and I think having them, for me, and the reason I asked you this question of why it's so critical having them as part of the conference, I feel like it is critical for having them as part of the conference because, like you said, we're all a team. We're all in this together. If you have vitiligo or don't have vitiligo, or you're trying to help cure it, or you're trying to help treat it, for me, I want the doctors there. I want you guys part of this team because it's only going to help us patients out, in the end game. If a cure is found or a better treatment is found, you're the ones doing it. So we're the ones telling you to do it, and you're the ones doing it for us. And so for me, I want you guys there. I love that all of you want to come and be part of this, because it makes you better doctors, it makes us better patients, and we really are all together. This movement is all going in one direction because of the patients and the doctors together. And
Sure.
to me, I think it's absolutely critical to have you guys there, and I love having you guys there.
Well, this is really unique, by the way. So usually you won't get, I mean, we've got all but one vitiligo researcher and specialist in the country coming to this day. I've never seen this before.
All but one.
Yeah, I've never seen everybody come to a conference. Even we have conferences all the time, and that's part of the problem. So I mean, we had a vitiligo conference in Rome last year, 2 years ago, and while a lot of people went to it, not everybody went to it. And it's there. We get together all the time for research purposes. So there are conferences for us where we're talking about vitiligo, the down in the details, the biology of it all, the medicine, and we're working hard behind the scenes. And so this is just so I don't think that, this conference really is about the patients. This is one thing that we feel strongly about, that World Vitiligo Day is for and about patients. And so this is really the reason why people are coming is this is our opportunity to just engage with you and get you excited as well about what we're doing. But we'll be working no matter what, behind the scenes we have been. And so, a lot of times too, for some of the researchers who don't see patients, this is one of their few opportunities to really engage with people that have the disease that they study. And so it's a great opportunity for them. But vitiligo, So Michelle, this is not the case in any other disease that I know. So whether it's psoriasis or alopecia areata, there's lots of people who engage, but it just seems to be at another level and a special relationship between the docs and the patients here in vitiligo. Yep.
I think it's kind of because we're a little bit of the underdog when it comes to skin diseases and skin conditions. So I think we're like, no, we are important, and you are going to listen to us. So I think maybe that's why we feel like we need to team up and be together. So
and this is why we need you. So just for in terms of what we need to accomplish our mission, and that's to create better treatments for vitiligo and ultimately a cure. We can work till we're blue in the face, but if patients don't advocate for themselves, we won't get the funding. We won't have the outlet for the drugs, so I think that awareness is key. And so you're really, for us, you're part of our team and critical, but I think the reverse is true as well.
Yes, for sure. So that was one of my questions too. A part of you've had a lot of donors for the conference, and I see on the website that there's pharmaceutical companies and there's treatment companies with the light treatments that have been donating to the conference. Why is that so important to have them involved with this conference?
2 reasons. So the first is because they actually are the ones that are going to make the new treatments and the cures for vitiligo. So while I spend all my time thinking about vitiligo and discovering what causes vitiligo, and other researchers too, we're all spending tons of time trying to understand how vitiligo works and finding new treatments for it. But to take that next stage, we are not Pfizer. We are not, Sanofi. We're not major pharmaceutical companies. I cannot make a drug. So I can only go so far. And in order to get the treatments into your hands, it requires this jump across a big gap that pharmaceutical companies are prepared to do, both in funding the cost. So a clinical trial costs millions of dollars. And so it's not useful for me to try to do that. So I take the funding that we get and we make the initial discovery, and then we hand that off to a pharmaceutical company to take that and actually make the actual treatment for the patients. So they're a critical part of this team. We're talking about a team, the family, the docs, the researchers, the patients, also the pharmaceutical companies and the FDA and the insurance companies and the government. And, they're all part of this delivering medicine. And so the companies are really critical to ever get anything to fruition that's going to help patients. And this is also unique. So the fact that they're so interested in being there, I don't twist arms. I can't twist arms to get these kind of people there. That they're there because they want to be there. They're there because they're excited about vitiligo, and all this support is a little glimpse into the future. We have no FDA-approved treatments for vitiligo, right? But the fact that all these companies want to be there mean that a couple years from now we are, and it's going to be because of them. So we really want to get them engaged early. We want to show them how important vitiligo is. Some of them are working with their bosses, and the bosses are telling them, vitiligo is no big deal. and they're trying to convince their bosses that it's a disease that's worth going into. And so they need ammunition, and you're part of the ammunition. And so that's number one. Number two, a conference like this is very expensive. And so we're going to spend probably double or triple on this conference than we spent in Detroit. But
wow.
We didn't increase the registration fee at all. And so the reason why we're able to do that is because of the support of the pharmaceutical companies. So they're allowing us to both do more and also save the registration, lower the registration fee so more people can come. And so I think that's a great partnership. Sometimes people worry that the companies are going to come and talk about their drugs and overstate how well they work and everything. And at least right now, that's not a problem because the companies can't talk about any drugs because there's nothing FDA approved right now. So they're just there to learn. They're there to engage. They're there to talk to patients and find out how really important this is. And that's why I'm excited.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's such a, like you said, it's a different thing that's happening. I mean, 2 years ago we wouldn't have had the pharmaceuticals there, and now it's it's changing. So our hope is to get the pharmaceuticals, to get the insurance, to get the congressmen, the senators. It's such a movement with what's happening for sure. So, Kim wanted to know why you chose vitiligo as your interest of study and research when you went into dermatology, or why you even went into dermatology.
I'm happy to answer that question if you want me to. So this isn't about me.
Yeah.
This is more about where
I know. Just your background, though.
I can talk forever, so we can talk for hours. But so my grandmother had vitiligo, and her brother had it. It's in my family. But I think even more than that, when I got my PhD during medical school to do research, I was researching type 1 diabetes. I was in the diabetes lab. I was really passionate about coming up and developing new treatments for diabetes. But I realized part of the problem was diabetes. You can't really do research in humans very easily. So the pancreas is where diabetes happens, and that's a really deep organ. That's about as deep as it gets in your gut. And so the accessibility of that to really study what's going on is very hard to do. And in fact, in order to study human diabetes, what they do is they take, if somebody unfortunately dies after being diagnosed with diabetes in a car crash or something, that's when they take the organs and they send them around for everybody to study really quick to try to figure out what's doing this. In vitiligo, we just had a patient who came yesterday who had a very rare form of vitiligo that I rarely see. And we said, I know you drove 4 hours here for clinic and you got to go home, but you are really rare and we'd love to get a sample of your skin to figure out what's causing that because I think it'll really enlighten us. And he said, oh, absolutely, no problem. And he just stayed another 2 or 3 hours for us to do our thing. We can do that at the drop of a hat. We didn't plan on doing this. We just scrambled everybody together, called over in the lab, they ran over, and we were able to get that skin and study it directly. So there's a huge opportunity in vitiligo. Vitiligo is an autoimmune disease, and the accessibility of the organ that's affected, unlike the pancreas, I can get in minutes. And so we've been able to make a lot of progress in vitiligo that is very difficult in other diseases to learn about because there's just no accessibility to the organ. So that made me interested in vitiligo as well, and less interested in diabetes because I really wanted to study humans. And then I saw a patient, my mentor actually introduced me to a patient with diabetes, a 20-year-old woman who knew onset diabetes. And it turned out she had a big patch of vitiligo on her back, and she had Hashimoto's thyroiditis, and she had pernicious anemia. She had 4 autoimmune diseases that all hit her at once. Oh, geez. And I realized that studying vitiligo, we can actually help vitiligo patients, but we can also help patients with all those other diseases because we believe that what causes autoimmunity is the same. And so if we study one, then we can learn about them all. So then I said, I want to be a dermatologist, and I want to study vitiligo.
That's awesome. That is awesome. So, I mean, obviously there's a lot of doctors that specialize in vitiligo, but how many true research facilities are there in the United States?
There are a few. There are maybe a handful, probably. Lots of people can study vitiligo in peripheral ways, but in terms of labs really dedicated to vitiligo, where that's their passion, a handful, 5, 6, maybe.
Wow.
Yeah. But that's in the U.S. and then around the world there are a few more. But the great thing about the U.S. is that we have the National Institutes of Health, the NIH, which is funded by your taxes, and they are dedicated to funding research in disease. And so that's one of the reasons why the U.S. Often is leading the way in these things. But there are other labs around the world that are also able to get funding, and they're very interested as well.
Very interesting. Very cool. So that is all I have for questions. Does anybody else out there have some questions that has to do with the conference? We're really trying to limit the questions to the conference, so I apologize if you're asking questions about treatments. That's not really what we're focusing on right now. So if there's questions about the conference that you feel we haven't addressed, please shoot it on here really quick.
Alicia, let me put in a plug for our website. So if you haven't been to our website, umassmed.edu/vitiligo, or if you just Google Harris vitiligo, that'll be the first thing you come up. Tons of information on there. So I have a whole tab, a whole page on treatments and examples of how they work. And I've got a blog where I've written, 20 or 30 blogs answering all kinds of questions. So actually go there, spend some time there. I think it'll be useful. And if you're interested in clinical trials, that question comes up a lot. How do I get into a trial? Go to our website, sign up for the newsletter, and we'll tell you all about it.
Okay. I know you did a webinar less than a year ago, about an hour-long webinar. I know that's on your website too, but that gave a lot of good information. So that's definitely check that out on his website too. So again, about the conference. So you have a separate site for the conference. You can get it through the UMass Vitiligo website, but then you also have a separate www.wvd18.org is the link you want to go to. I have it on this post, so all you got to do is click on it. That's going to give you all the information about the conference, to register by April 20th, the hotel information, about Worcester, about the clinic, about all the speakers that will be there. Lots of good information on there. You also have a hashtag that you guys are using, hashtag WVD18CONF for conference. So if you guys are sharing information about the conference, sharing photos, make sure you do that hashtag, because that will link us all up together. Again, it's June 22nd through the 24th in Worcester, Massachusetts. So can you tell us a little bit about Worcester, what makes that such a cool community, or maybe if people are wanting to tool around and check out a couple things about Worcester, why they have some downtime?
Yeah, Worcester's an interesting place.
And am I saying it right? I think I'm saying it right.
You are, yeah, Worcester. And if you want to say it like the locals say it, it's Wista, W-I-S-T-A, Wista. Yep. We have a thick Boston accent, Wista. So Worcester is a really interesting town. It's historic. It's been around a long time. It's the second largest city in all of New England, actually. So first is Boston, and then is Worcester. Yep. Okay. And so the birth control pill was invented in Worcester. There are a number of rocket scientists originated in Worcester. WPI is here. Really? We've got 10 to 12 undergraduate institutions, so it's a big college town. And it's also really kind of, its flavor is blue collar, so way cheaper to live here than in Boston. Lots of things to access here, though. And so we've got our own thing. It's blue collar. We got a lot of factories, actually. Textiles were big in the past, but now we're also research and science is very big. So you can imagine that property in Boston is really expensive. And you can go an hour west to Worcester and get things a lot cheaper, build buildings. Living out here is way cheaper than Boston. So there are a number of advantages that Worcester has. We've got a local baseball team, and it's fun. So there's actually a whole list of things about Worcester on the website, the WVD18.org website. You can read about those things. But the other great thing about Worcester, actually, is within about 20 minutes, I can get home, and my house is in the middle of the woods, surrounded by acres and acres and acres of trees and horse farms and goat farms and sheep. It's really, I think that's one of the unique things for a major academic medical center to be that close to the woods. We've got a ski area, a ski mountain, about 30 minutes away. So it's very unique. It's our own little place. It's small. And UMass actually mirrors that as well. So I'm at University of Massachusetts Medical School. And one of the things here is that we're a relatively small community, but we're doing absolutely cutting edge science. And it allows us to interact and synergize and work with each other. So we just had a Nobel Prize winner about 10 years ago, and he's a big part of the community, plays volleyball with us. We collaborate with him. We do experiments with him and other really outstanding scientists in such a small place. Provides us this unique opportunity. And you'll get a chance to see all that too, when you're here, see the university, see the grounds, the parks. We have literally have a lake right across the street, a big lake. There's lots of crew, colleges row crew on the lake, so you can see that. There's a marina. It's a lot of fun. It's a great place.
Yeah, it looks like a beautiful community just from looking around. So, and one thing about Worcester being a large college town, the transportation, the public transportation is large. I know Amtrak comes into there, so there is an Amtrak from Logan Airport if you're flying into, or if you're taking the train in. I believe you said there's a bus system that's very good. So there is local transportation within Worcester because of the big community of the college town.
Yeah, and everything's close. So, even an Uber is going to be available and cheap and easy to just get around. Uber, I'm not biased, so Uber, Lyft, taxi, whatever you prefer.
Yeah.
Right. We're sticking out a thumb on the corner. But we're not. It's not hard to get from one place to the other. Even the hotels that are the furthest away from here are a 5-minute ride, so it's not going to be a problem. Getting here, we're an hour from Boston, hour drive. You can get a train, Amtrak from Boston. You can take a car, an Uber, a cab. There are also vans that are shared vans, and I think for $20 or $30 each way, you can get a shared van and jump on and schedule it, so it's there waiting for you when you're ready. And so lots of opportunities. There's even a Worcester airport. You can fly right into Worcester if you if you want. You'll be able to fly through JFK. There's a JetBlue connection in JFK, so if you can get to JFK and connect, you can actually come to Worcester.
Okay.
The flights are limited here. The other airports, in addition to Boston Logan, are Manchester, Providence, TF Green in Providence, Hartford. So there are a lot of airport choices. Pick the best one that's for you. That we're about an hour away from everybody.
Okay.
We are hoping, again, we have to see how the budget shakes out and that the sponsors come through, but we're hoping that we're going to be able to support at least some transportation to and from the airport without charge. So the goal would be to have buses specifically for World Vitiligo Day to take you here running between Worcester and Boston for a window of time. So obviously we can't do that for the entire conference. That would be too expensive. But if you arrive within a certain window on Friday night, we'll bring you here. We'll have transport, hopefully. If you sign up and you register, we'll send you information about that. And then going back to the airport will be easy because we're all finishing at the same time, and we'll be able to kind of hopefully have a couple buses that drive in.
Okay. And that's why it's so important to get your registration in by April 20th. So things like this can get planned ahead of time and further out as much as you can do. So April 20th is that date to get your registration in, you guys, so we can get the rest of this planning, because it's a lot involved with planning a conference. So the more time we have to help plan it, the better it will be for all of us. So please get those registrations in ASAP. I believe I talked to Terry, your administrative assistant. I don't know if that's her title, but yep. She said right now it looks like there's 104 registered, with 13 of them being children. And I do know that Valerie with Vit Friends is going to be registering, I think, 20 to 25 more. And that also doesn't include the doctors that are coming. So, we're looking at probably 150 right there-ish. And that's not including the ones that are maybe waiting until closer to that April 20th. I know tax day is the 17th. So if you get your taxes back, go and register right away and hit that April 20th deadline. So, because it will be here before we know it for sure. So what's weather like out in June in Worcester, you think?
Well, we hope
Are you a humid
snowing.
Place? Are you a hot place? Yeah, seriously,
we
I'm done with the snow.
Yeah, I saw you had some snow. We actually had some snow yesterday during my clinic.
We're supposed to get some on Sunday again.
Sunday? So I'm pretty sure that by June 22nd, there won't be any snow. It's actually perfect. It's perfect in Worcester at that point. So, because we're cold in the winter, the summers are great and tolerable. We don't get too hot. So June is going to be beautiful. Okay. It's going to be perfect weather. You know, I would guess it's going to be low 70s, high 60s, low 70s. We generally don't get, you know, terrible weather. So I anticipate sun. Usually more often than not, we see that. We'll have a lot of options. Okay. Like I said, we're going to have a lot to do outside, but if the weather's lousy, we've got a lot of inside space too. I really need to thank UMass, the facility, for really supporting this, and the Dean Flott for supporting this. He's really excited about this, and he's given us all this space to use for the conference, because he recognizes how important it is. And the facilities people that we've talked to are all supportive, and the police who are going to be here. Lots of people are going to have to come and set up tables and chairs and all these things, and the whole community is excited about it. So we're thrilled. And you know, while we're at it, my information technology team, the IT team, who really set up the website, awesome. And they made the logo, and they're an incredible group of people. And it's just because they're doing it because they care, and they know they did a good job. Important. So Alicia, you're frozen.
For sure.
Yeah,
they've done a great job. Am I frozen? You're kind of, I don't know if it's you or me or what it is, but because now you're frozen. So, well, maybe this will be a good part to wrap it up.
I'm back.
We're both freezing here. Oh, yeah! You gotta love technology. Well, this might be a good stopping point for us, since I don't see any new questions, and I'm so excited to see everybody that's coming. And see you again, and I've heard you're quite the good singer, so maybe you'll be up there doing a little karaoke, and I know you guys can dance, so
you know, it's funny actually, the Vitiligo
conference and see.
One of the things the Vitiligo community likes to do at our meetings is go out for karaoke. So Dr. Pandya and Dr. Grimes, and we've all been out. We've done it multiple times when we're at a meeting in a new city. We find a karaoke place and we go and hang out for a few hours. So that's one reason why we're making that theme, karaoke for World Vitiligo Day, at least for a little bit.
It will be good. I'll make sure this year.
I won't dominate the stage.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite parts of last year, is just seeing all these world-renowned doctors dancing on the dance floor. So that's such a great experience, and just another way that we are a family and a team, and just another wonderful experience to take away from this conference. So, you know, there's something for everyone at this conference this year, you guys. And it doesn't matter what age you are, what background you are. We all come together to celebrate vitiligo, to learn about vitiligo, and just have these relationships. I keep saying it's like a family reunion, and one you want to go to. So it's such a wonderful, wonderful experience. And I really, really hope you guys decide to come and do that registration by the 20th of April, because you will not want to miss it. It's a life-changing event. And I'm just so excited that we have a lot of new people coming this year that have never been, that are bringing their children. I have one other family from Minnesota coming. I'm so excited about that. So they have a 9-year-old boy, Alex, that will be coming. And he actually announced it to his class that he was going to be attending this conference. And just what a change he had made from the beginning of the year, where he really didn't even want to talk about it, to standing up in front of his class and announcing that he's going to this conference. So these conferences change lives. Wow. and help people really accept their vitiligo, and meet this family. So I just wanted to give that last plug about really, really wanting to attend. So is there anything else you'd like to say, or before we wrap up, or anything like that?
No, I think that's it. Happy to be here. I'm excited about the conference. I just hope we can fill it up. Register, get everybody in, tell your friends.
Yes, for sure. And I'll be sharing this video everywhere. So if anybody has any questions, you'll have it. So thank you so much again for doing this. I really appreciate it, Dr. John. It's just another example of how wonderful our doctors in the vitiligo community are. So we really thank you for doing this. So I'm going to wrap up. Go to wvd18.org to register today. Your cutoff is April 20th. Please get that out there. Share with your team members, share with anybody that you can think of to get the registration for April 20th at wvd18.org. So that's all I have for today, you guys. So thank you, Dr. John, again. And hopefully we don't have any more snow. And, and we'll talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.
All right, bye guys.